Hey besties! Happy February! We are going to do 2026 off right, and we are going to do our January wrap up on, you heard it here, February 1st. That's right, I have not done this probably since the beginning of this channel, so let's get into it. The first book was Dragon Curse by Elsie Kova. It is freaking phenomenal. There's honestly really nothing like it. I fell in love with the story immediately. I fear that this will be my favorite book of 2026. So I need like your God tier recommendations because I don't know if we're gonna beat this dragon. Am I turning into a dragon? Am I a dragon fighter? And the romance and the friendship and the betrayal and just all the things. It's so good, so high stakes. I love a book with trials. I do. And obviously I needed a little something soft after Dragon Curse, so I read Until Now by Jensen Parker. Joke's on me though, because I didn't know that Jensen was gonna make me cry like a little baby, but it was so good. You guys definitely have to check it out. Jensen is an indie author, and she is so great at her job. And then we decided to head back to the fantasy world because I had been waiting to read this book, but I knew we were doing it as a January Fable book club pick, and that is A Curse of Ashes. This is book 3 of the Eye of Goddess series by Soraya Wilson, and it was such a good ending to the story, you guys. I can only hope and pray that Soraya continues in the fantasy realm. And then we went back and did a whole bunch of romance. So we did The Odds of You by Kate Dramas. This is a really cute contemporary romance that is really exploring fate and boundaries of communication, and it was just a really cute time, and it has adorable sprayed edges. And then we read Playing for Keeps by Alexandria Bellafiller. If you are a Swiftie, this is a must read. It's a very cute spin on the Taylor Travis inspired romances. This one is their publicist, and it's a sapphic FF romance. Probably my favorite contemporary romance in this little batch was Only on Game Day by Kristen Callahan. This is actually in the middle of a series. I don't know if that mattered. I didn't feel like I was missing anything. It was fake dating, brother's best friend, childhood friends to lovers, second chance, just everything I would want. And I absolutely was swooning and loving it the entire time. Then we went dark. And I want to preface that Captured by Lauren Beale is amazing. It is phenomenal. If you can read the most horrific things, it is such a good read, an important read of understanding trauma, but it is not a romance. It's not meant to be a romance. It is a horror with unconsensual in it. And then we have A Throne for the Loop by Serena. I have no clue how to say it. Bowen. And I absolutely loved it. I really felt like her writing reminded me of Elle Kennedy. You guys know Elle Kennedy's my girl. I love her. And it was everything I needed after reading Captured. It was just a sweet, perfect little time. And then I went on to Almost One Night Stand, which is by AJ Pine. And it had me starting to read Ted Lasso. I'm pretty sure this is a Ted Lasso like love letter. It was so good though. That's not a complaint. I loved it. You guys definitely need to check this out if you're a contemporary romance reader. And then we did Hollow. This is like a maybe for me. This was my second time reading it. I couldn't get into it the first time. I did a softie enough because I had an ALC. I didn't hate it. The ending was like, what the fuck? But it was for the girlies who are definitely Team Edward. She finds herself transferred into a vampire, and these are these two opposing families that she has to choose from. So it's interesting. It's a little different. But I didn't absolutely love it. I liked it though. After that I was like, okay, I need something I know I'm gonna love. So I read In Your Dreams by Sarah Adams. This is the 4th book in the When in Rome series. I have not read books 2 and 3 yet. I probably should have. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about reading this out of order, but this was a perfect sweet contemporary romance. Madison is being brought back home by James because he's her brother's best friend who's always treated her like a little sister, and she's kind of in the middle of a life crisis, and they fall in love, and it's just so freaking beautiful. And then I realized that Megan Quinn's newest release that's coming out on February 3rd, Just for the Cameras, has a lot of interconnected storylines. So I dived into her backlog like no other. Kind of like I did this summer when I fell in love with her. So I read book 2 of the Kane Brothers, So Not Meant to Be. This is JP's story. I feel like JP sneaks up everywhere in all of the other books, but I don't know that you have to read him in order to like get a chuckle at what he does. He's just obsessed with birds and pigeons, and you do you, JP. And then I read A Long Time Coming, which is book 3 of the Kane Brothers series, and this is definitely for the Powerless girlies. If Elsie Silver's Powerless was your favorite book, this is it right here. You're going to love it so freaking much. And then we went to the Almond Bay versus Bridesmaid back and forth. If you don't know, go check out my other videos on the reading order. But first it was The Way I Hate Him. The Way I Hate Him is book 1 of the Almond Bay series, and it's Hattie and Hayes, who is a country singer's romance, and it is forbidden, family rival, small town age gap romance with a rock star, so what is there not to love? And then I went into Bridesmaid for Hire, and I remembered why Megan is a queen of rom-coms. Almond Bay is more of like a sweet small town romance. The Bridesmaid series is just hilarious rom-coms, just like you see with most of Megan's writings these days. And I could not get over the fake dating, the best friend, brother's best friend. It was just so funny and so bold and so unexpected. And you know how I feel about fake dating. This is Maggie's story, and I was so excited to get to her. Then I went back to Almond Bay, and we tackled The Reason I Married Him. And it was very cute, but it's when I kind of really saw the difference between the rom-com style and the small town style of Megan Quinn, and I was in the mindset for rom-com, but it still had fake dating and a marriage of convenience, one bed, she's a black cat, opposite attract, hate to love, and it's a really good like contract marriage trope, and I really appreciated this one more as I went on with the series and the stories, which included Bridesmaid Undercover. Again, hilarious. She is now a bridesmaid undercover. She being Everly and Hardy and Hopper? Is that his other name? No, Hardy Hopper and what's his brother's name? Doesn't matter. Hudson, I think. Hardy's ex-girlfriend is going to be the maid of honor, so he wants Everly to help them reunite. Well, that backfires, and his ex-girlfriend ends up helping Hardy catch Everly, and it is such a cute, fun time. Then I was like, it's time for some fantasy. And I read Bonds of Hercules by Jasmine Mast. Now, if you've been following along a while, you know I read Blood of Hercules probably 6 months ago or more. And I absolutely freaking loved it. It was one of my favorite books of 2025. Bonds of Hercules was enjoyable. It was 5 stars. But I wouldn't say that it's on that level that Blood of Hercules is on, if that makes sense. Like, Blood of Hercules was a 6-star read. This one was just like a 5, maybe like a 4.5. But it's the same competitive atmosphere with a huge focus on strong FMC and women empowerment, which is what I love so much about Jasmine's writing. Now, after that, I needed a breather. I wasn't quite ready to go on to The Path of Loving Him, which is book 3 of the Almond Bay series. So I did some of the Valentine's Day short stories by Amazon. The first one was Accidentally Yours by Christina Lauren. This was such a fun time. It was exactly what I needed. Christina Lauren just do romance and rom-coms so well, and they do not disappoint. They're one of my favorite short stories writers. This is not the first time doing these Amazon short stories. And then I went on to the next one because it was Hannah Bonnet Young, and you know that's my girl. And man, did she make me cry so quick, but it was okay. She put her heart back together, and it had a happily ever after. And then I finally went on and I read The Path of Loving Him by Megan Quinn, and this was my favorite of the Almond Bay series. This is Ryland's story, who's the uncle who has Mac in his care, and it was just beautiful, and I can see why so many of you guys needed this story and how healing it would be. I love this one so much. I also really connected with the rest of the characters that I had previously struggled with their stories. So that's what I read in January. Comment what you read, and we'll see if I finish the books that I currently have started, because I didn't finish all my January books.